otherwise, that I think that groupthink is a slightly hackneyed term, but you do tend to all draw towards the same sort of conclusions if you're not careful. And that sort of where can we play, how can we win side of things, with a strategic cascade, and what resources are needed. I think people do tend to think very much down specific lines in the way that they've always done it. If they only involve the same sort of types of people. And it's only actually through bringing in a wider cohort of people that you really start to break apart that thinking. And you start to come up with some better ideas. David Marquette's whole sort of philosophy, turn the ship around why, yes, he's the submarine captain, but why should he be the only one giving the orders? Because there's only one person thinking. He's got 113 people on that submarine who can think and who know what they're trying to achieve and why they're trying to achieve. Why not, enhance that? So it's a way of, it's a way of trying to do it, but in a way that doesn't feel threatening. It's that creation of a safe space. That's, for me, I think is one of the key things around the game, around these decision games, is helping everybody in the room, whether they're very senior and don't want to feel like junior people are challenging them in their thinking, or junior people feeling uncomfortable about challenging senior people. It's about creating that environment where everybody's kind of given a mandate to say, this is what I think and why we should do it.
Absolutely. It's definitely the mandate, as you say, of leadership to say, look, we're going to come into this room and we're not about subverting our business, and we're not about talking about undermining our business and what we're about. We're simply kicking the tires, and we're going to get very, very honest. And management need to know and need to show that that's not just okay, that's actually what's required, is that we get down to the realities of the situation and we say things that maybe up until that time have been unspoken, because we know that we're challenging some deep-rooted beliefs that management may have. And the other thing, of course, is that we don't just have to have stakeholders that represent sort of the market in the room, but we also need to have people who are going to implement the decisions that the game generates, in order that what is actually discussed, one, is implementable, because the implementers are there and they can say, well, that's a great idea, but of course it's not feasible. But also that they've had a part in actually shaping the idea in the first place, which gives the opportunity, the plan that flows from the workshop, it gives a much greater opportunity of succeeding if those implementing it feel that this is a great idea and I was a part of it.
No, I definitely agree. I think sort of taking it one step further, our experience has been that it helps to maybe run a couple of tests, a couple of games, rather than just one. If you try and do something where you are looking at strategy, say, and you've got the implementers in the room at the same time, it's difficult to get enough of a white space piece of thinking at the same time as getting down to the granular areas. So we would almost shift players to give a different focus to the games, and it's all about sort of timing of when you do these. I think the one thing that we have learned is that you want to do it a lot earlier than you would think normal. Doing it really early at a strategic level, doing that white space thinking, where can we play, how can we win, what resources might we need, what systems might we need. You definitely want some implementers in the room to challenge that, because they're going to have to deliver it. But then I think it starts to shape, and as the plan, the process starts to shape down towards more refined, this is what the delivery now looks like, this is what the plan actually starts to look like. That's when you almost start to shift to the players, so that you get more implementers into the room and maybe less of the strategic leaders. So you can use the test at different parts in the strategic process and the delivery process. And by changing the players, you can change the focus and shift the focus, so that you do get that whole continuum from, should we be doing this, where should we do this, why should we do this, what will it deliver, into the, can we actually now make this happen,
and
how.
It's so subtle though, isn't it? Because if there are, essentially what we're saying, there are two different types of group, the decision makers and the implementers, crudely speaking, the handoff is so subtle, because what the implementers don't want is to hand it over and say, now get on with it. Versus you also don't want the decision makers bogged down with in the decision-making process by people who it's not their job to make those decisions.
No.
So there needs to be some kind of overlap. The baton needs to be handed over very gently, and certainly implementers need to know that they have a mandate to challenge what's been decided.
Yeah.
They have an opportunity to do so and not just take things as read, because that will certainly disenfranchise them if they are being asked to get on with what they perceive to be a worthless activity.